Welcome to the snapshot of Do the Work, Overcome Resistance, and Get Out of Your Own Way by Stephen Pressfield. Here we'll explore the key insights from Do the Work. Introduction. You have a brilliant idea, but how do you start turning it into reality? Or maybe you finally have the courage to begin a meaningful endeavor, but now you feel paralyzed every time you think about it. Whether you're an artist working on a new canvas, a dancer creating new choreography, an entrepreneur starting a new enterprise, or a philanthropist looking to found a charity, there's a very real force working to malign your efforts and hold you back. Pressfield calls this force the resistance, an entity that gets in the way of your project from conception all the way to completion. It puts up barriers to your progress, self-doubt, fear, lack of confidence, self-sabotage, and procrastination, and leaves you feeling stuck. Everyone can relate to these feelings, but just because they're familiar doesn't mean they're inevitable. Resistance comes into play whenever you're trying to do something worthwhile, overcoming an addiction, beginning a health regimen, launching a new business, or taking a stand against injustice. To accomplish any of these things, you must reject immediate gratification and prioritize long-term growth. You know it's worth it, but the forces of resistance feel so powerful because 1. Resistance is insidious. It uses any means necessary to keep you from doing your work, from fatigue to lack of confidence to fear. There's no end to the excuses it will propose. 2. Resistance is impersonal. It might feel personal, but it's just a force of nature, indifferent, objective, yet ever-present. 3. Resistance is infallible. It unfailingly tries to prevent you from doing what's most important to you. 4. Resistance is universal. Everyone struggles with the feeling of resistance, no matter how much they've already accomplished. 5. Resistance never sleeps. It doesn't go away. No matter how many times you push past it, resistance still tries to keep you from going ahead with your plans. 6. Resistance plays for keeps. It targets the core of the projects you value most. The only way to push through resistance is to keep taking action toward your goal. Accept that the feelings of resistance are always going to be there and get used to doing what you're meant to do in spite of them. Additionally, anyone who tries to start something new or create something special must contend with resistance and 2 other powerful forces: rational thought and the opinions of friends and family. Can you relate? Have you experienced the well-meaning concern of loved ones questioning what you're doing, or the voice in your head that tells you it's time to stop working on your project and do something sensible? These forces can combine to stop you in your tracks and pull you away from the creative, necessary, and fulfilling work you're meant to do. It takes grit to push yourself forward and keep going. This snapshot focuses on fighting the resistance and digs into 3 of Pressfield's many techniques for successfully pushing through on your project. Start before you're ready. When you're on the verge of starting something important, do you ever stop and think to yourself, wait, I need to read more about how to do this? Similarly, maybe you thought that the timing isn't right to launch your business, or that you don't have enough resources to start graduate school. Or you might be ready to start exercising, but then you talk yourself out of it because you don't have the right clothes or equipment. Whatever the reason, your moment to start something new is over before it even began. Pressfield says you must start before you're ready. Unprepared? That's okay. Unequipped? It always takes time to gather everything you need. Unsure of your abilities? There's only one way to overcome that: through effort. When you start before you're ready, you demonstrate to yourself that you're resourceful and that you know how to find solutions to problems. No one can be prepared for every challenge or obstacle, so you should begin right away and learn as you go. There's no better teacher than experience, and there's magic in boldness. When you're having trouble getting started, use Pressfield's tip of putting yourself on a research diet. Read 3 books on your subject and no more. After that, allow the ideas to marinate in your mind and let your intuition guide you to get started. Pressfield wisely notes that too much research can become resistance. Keep that in mind when you hear yourself say, "But I just need to read 1 more article." Don't dally with over-preparation or be tempted into the comfortable distraction of overthinking how to begin. If you love your idea and it feels right to you, act on it right away. Embrace the process. As you start your endeavor, keep in mind that you can't eliminate resistance. It's going to be at your side no matter what you're working on. But part of the process of doing good work is doing it despite this force. When you encounter gaps in your knowledge as you're going along, that's an appropriate time to seek out what you need. But don't pause and lose the momentum of all your hard work. Encountering gaps in your process isn't an opportunity to stop what you're doing and listen to your inner critic. Instead, it's an opportunity to show yourself that you can do what it takes to keep your project moving forward, no matter what. One of the best parts about continuing with your project despite bumps in the road is that you open yourself up to new ideas. Setbacks are the perfect invitation for creativity and innovation, and you discover noteworthy strengths in yourself when you draw on your resources. Your process probably won't unfold as an organized, linear progression of incremental steps. Instead, you might celebrate a win in one area while putting out a fire in another. The key is to keep going no matter what you encounter. Even wildly successful creators keep working on their projects every day. Stephen King, for example, works every single day, even on holidays and his birthday. There's power in maintaining this momentum, and it will help carry you over the gaps. Even if you've managed to keep yourself going through the initial gaps and challenges in your project, you're going to hit a much more daunting hardship at some point. Pressfield calls this the crash, and it usually happens when your project has been running in high gear and is close to completion. Then, you suddenly lose your financing, the star of your film checks into rehab, or your most expensive piece of equipment breaks down. What now? The crash phenomenon is familiar to anyone who's ever worked on a meaningful endeavor. Nothing can prepare you for it, but you should expect it to happen at some point. And when it does, what else can you do but learn from it? You can give up, walk away, and wonder if your project wasn't meant to be. Or you can grit your teeth and look at what needs fixing. It's not pleasant to examine what went wrong. In fact, it's uncomfortable, and it makes you face some of the flaws in your process. Just remember that a problem is only a problem, not an indicator of failure, and every problem has a solution. Finish strong. Completion is the most critical part of any project. If you don't bring your project over the finish line, what do you have to show for all the effort you've put in? Pressfield tells the story of a brilliant novelist who spent years working on the draft of a book, packaged it carefully in a mailing box, and then stared at it for months because he was terrified of the rejection he might face. He never sent it to his agent. Have you also found it difficult to finish something you're working on? Pressfield suggests that this is because the force of resistance is strongest at the end. Maybe, like the novelist, you're afraid of failure, or maybe you're actually afraid of success. Additionally, some people find it difficult to complete projects because they're not ready for the inevitable changes that come when it's time to wrap up one enterprise and move on to another. Your reluctance to finish a project might also come from a fear of exposure. When you put yourself and your work out there for all to see, you're in a deeply vulnerable position. You know you're likely to encounter criticism, judgment, and negative reviews. But whatever blows you endure are part of the privilege of having created something unique and having the courage to release it. Even experiencing a real failure, as Pressfield did when one of his screenplays flopped, means that you're a professional because you finished what you started. You didn't quit, and you didn't back away. You delivered. Submit your draft. Play your music. Perform your dance. Once you do this, you'll discover something that the people who give up along the way never get to experience. The satisfaction of having brought forth something new and special into the world. And when it's time to start the next project, you'll know you have what it takes to do it all over again. Just remember to start before you're ready. Conclusion. In this snapshot, you've learned about 3 forces that intervene to keep you from starting, continuing, and completing your projects: resistance, rational thought, and the concern of friends and family. You've learned how to battle against resistance, which fills you with countless doubts about your abilities and floods you with excuses. First, you must start before you're ready, or you may never start at all. Overthinking and overplanning are just useful disguises for resistance. Then you must embrace the process and all the bumps in the road along the way. You can't eliminate resistance, so learn to work with it. In the end, you must finish strong. No matter your fears, you must push on and see your project through to completion. This is perhaps the most important step. Assistance is the opposite of resistance. Pressfield believes that a work in progress generates energy, and you can draw on that energy to keep yourself motivated and tuned in to what you need to be doing. The energy emanating from your project will assist you in translating potential into reality. While you keep working toward your goal, what you're left with is simple: love. Love for the material, the process, and the gift you're cultivating to share with the world. About Stephen Pressfield. Stephen Pressfield is the author of dozens of works of fiction and nonfiction. His best-known screenplay, The Legend of Bagger Vance, was made into an award-winning film starring Will Smith and Matt Damon. His website, podcast, and online courses help instruct artists and entrepreneurs on how to win the inner battles that hold them back from success. Thank you for listening to the snapshot of Do the Work by Stephen Pressfield. If you liked what you heard, then make sure to explore the rest of our snapshot library to continue gaining key insights from nonfiction books in a matter of minutes.
Thank you for listening to our quick learning audiobook review series. If you liked what you heard, then check out our channel for more free audiobook reviews. We post new audiobooks every week. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to be first to hear of our latest reviews.